Oh my gosh, first try, my computer's working. Also, got my nails done. Love. Week 4. Y'all, this reading deprivation thing, not for me. Not for me. But we're going to get into it. Oh, Miss Cameron. Hey. Hey, Miss Cameron. Because that week 4 is crazy. Week 4 is crazy, and I'm gonna tell y'all why. This week we talked about recovering a sense of integrity. And there was some introspection. And there was introspection. I'm trying to read everything that I want to talk about. And I'm gonna write a note so that I don't forget. Okay. So last Saturday, I sent out the beginning of the first chapter of the writing challenge that I talked about on here. And by the way, I finished it today. The 50,000 words for the Readsy Writing November Sprint Contest. I finished it today. Yes. Very happy about that. Last Saturday, when I started sharing the beginning of the first chapter, about 2,600 words, to a few people that I just wanted to, somebody else to look at it so that I can make edits on it so that when I send it for the writing contest, because I'm now eligible to submit, that it's good enough. You know what I mean? Like, it's not, a first draft of something. Like, I really want it to be polished. Even though it's not like, it hasn't gone through like developmental edits, so it's not that at that stage where it'll be like published ready, but it's like polished ready, where it's like, okay, you didn't just like write this down and then send it out. I just noted that I started to feel like, oh my gosh, this is so dumb. Like, why am I sending this to people? I shouldn't be sending this to anybody. This is dumb. This is trash. This is cringe. I said, girl, send it out. Send it out. So I sent it. And my friend Elise gave me her feedback. And then I sent it to 2 other people. They haven't given me their feedback back yet. But I'm gonna see if I can. I'm gonna follow up with them tomorrow because I'm going to submit it Tuesday morning because it's due Tuesday night. I'm gonna work on it all of Monday. Tomorrow, which is Sunday, I'm not gonna write anything. I'm gonna watch so much TV, but we're still gonna get into that. I haven't even. Hold on. Still on the note thing. And I had to ask this guy that I know, Marcel. I call him Cell. For like details of this production that we were a part of for the story that I was writing. And even then, when I was asking him, I was like, hey, do you remember that thing that you talked about like a few months ago? Like, could you remind me about like more in detail what you said? Because like I kind of remember, but like, could you just give me more detail? And even then, for what I was writing, I like felt so cringe for asking him. And it's just like, girl, you need the information to write the story. Just ask for it. And at the end of the day, if he don't remember, then girl, you just gonna have to just make some up. But I didn't have to make anything up because he did remember. And it was perfect. And he was like, is that all you needed? And I was like, yes, thank you. So, yeah. And speaking of having to make something up from something that you already kind of know, during the summer, I was a part of this like live music jam album recording. And I sang an improvisational song, words, okay? And the whole thing was recorded. I got the recording back a week ago, a couple weeks ago, week and a half ago. Can't really remember. Time isn't real. But I'm listening back to the recording, and there are some lyrics that you can't hear because the position of the drum is like full on with the recording device. So there are just some bits of the song that I sang that I just don't know. Don't know what I sang because it was improv or is improvised. I'm used to just saying improv for like acting, but like it was improvised. The song was improvised. So I was thinking, I was just like, I'm gonna have to just make another lyric up because I love the song and I kind of want to record it, like officially. Maybe it might be part of like my first album or something that I might do one day. Girl, I don't even know. But just like, I don't know what I said. And I've been trying to like remember how I was feeling that day or why I would have said what, like if I would have, what I would have said, I don't know. And I'm kind of glad that I don't know because I don't need to be thinking about how I was feeling that day. You know what I mean? And it wasn't particularly a bad day, but it's just like, thinking about what I was talking about when I was singing the song. Nobody needs that. You know what? Let's just make something up. And I'm going to make something up. And the song is going to be good either way. Period. All right. Yeah. I'm going to talk about my tasks. So this week I did I did 4 tasks. And I've been feeling like I went off of last week because week 3, I felt like at the very end of week 3, I was like, all of this is pointless. Especially like, I remember, I think the Saturday of week 3, I remember being like, oh, this is useless, bro. This is pointless. Like these morning pages, dumb. What am I doing this for? This is stupid. This is not working. It's not working. That's what I was feeling like. So I was like, okay, to combat the feeling that this is not working, I need to do more. That was my first instinct. I need to do more, and I need to do more tasks so I can come back throughout the week and look at this book and realize that this is not pointless. This is getting me somewhere. Okay. And I went back and I like looked at the other tasks the amount of tasks that I did in other weeks. Week 1, I did 4 tasks. In week 2, I think I only did 1 or 2. In week 3, I did 4. And then in week 4, I did 4. So I'm like, besides week 2, I've been doing tasks. But for some reason, week 3 felt real low. I don't know. But either I'm going to keep up doing the same amount of tasks or I might do more. I know they're not mandatory, but it's just like, I feel like just constantly coming back to this book throughout the week is really great. Not just like doing the morning task and the artist date. And low key, I do open this book every day because I recite the basic principles. I do the basic principles, the creative affirmations in week 1. And then there's like this scripture that I have in here on a sticky note that I recite every day. And then in week 4, there was an artist prayer or like an artist prayer that you could write. So I've been saying that all week as well. More on that later. So it's just kind of like, I do open this book every day, but I think opening the book every day or all throughout the week and actually reading something from it, actually doing an activity from it, can keep up the feeling that this is working. Okay. Oh yeah, finish the writing challenge. That's in the notes. And I was looking at it. Okay, hold on. because on the side of the screen during the writing challenge, it had how many people were enrolled in the challenge. And I'm going to try and not talk for like 20 more minutes. Try and be fast. But like it would, like, I remember I started like my real like project that I knew that I wanted to do. I started it with half of November already gone. I started the challenge with 2 weeks left. And so there were like maybe 4,000 people at the time when I had started with 2 weeks left. So when I started, people were still joining, just like me. So throughout the days, it's grown to like 5,500 or like 5,000, 5,100, 5,200, 5,300, or whatever. And I was just like, dang, like, it's so cool. It was so cool to see the numbers grow and people like go up to that and just be like, you know what, I'm gonna just try and see if I can get it at least, or I'm gonna just see if I can. I just love that. And I'm like, you know what, y'all? Yeah. And I hope everybody that enrolled, I hope everybody made it. Just so that, you know, we could just say that we did. 50,000 words is crazy. And I just really hope that everybody made the goal. And I think that it might have dropped by like 200 people, but I hope that like I feel like earlier in the week it was like 5,500, but when I saw it today it was 5,300. I'm hoping that those 200 people got done late or got done with their goal early, so then they didn't need to be technically enrolled in it because they were done with it. You know what I mean? Anyways, you get what I'm saying. And I was thinking about this thing that I saw on the Terrell show. God, I love the Terrell show. And I think it was Eric Bellinger. Lord, what's the man's name? He's a songwriter and a singer. Eric Bellinger. Anyways, one of Terrell's guests, his name's Eric. Light skinned singer. But not light. Anyways, he's a singer. And he was talking about how if you look at how much time it's going to take to do something and then you don't do it, the time is going to pass anyway. So you could have done what was going to take however long it's going to take, because once you get to that point, because it's going to come, you could have done it. And then you would have that under your belt. You would have accomplished that goal. But if you don't do it, then it's just like, girl, you could have just done the hard thing, because you still, you know what I'm saying? Like, if it's going to take me a year to do something, and I'm like, dang, it's going to take me a year to do it? I don't feel like doing it. Next year, when the time rolls around, I'm going to be looking around and be like, dang, it's another year and I didn't do it. I could have done it, and it could have, you know, I could have had at least the feeling of accomplishment that I did it. Anyways, child, let's get into these check-in questions. How many days this week did I do my morning pages? I did them every day this week. I don't play about my morning pages. Nothing is going to stop me from doing my morning pages. Okay. I said I did my morning pages. They didn't feel useless. They don't feel useless anymore. And I'm in it to win it. I'm trusting the process. There's a lot of stuff that I'm trusting the process about in my life. And I'm just like, okay, I think I'm going to just trust the process with literally everything in my life and just let it go. You know, it's fine and it's cool. Oh, it's fine and it's cool that I like usually have a list of things that I want to talk about in the morning, which is really nice. I think I can count one time where I've literally written in my morning pages, I don't know what else to talk about. But that was only maybe like 3 lines, and then I thought of something to write about, and I was like, oh, I can write about this. You know what I'm saying? So it's cool. Did you do your artist date this week? What did you do, and how did it feel? I crafted. I literally just got done with my artist date. I crafted. my Bohemia spread, and it was so refreshing, actually. I have it right here. So I started junk journaling, and you can't really see like something fell out of the journal. You can't really see the details, but there's a couple pictures and like some money that I used in the show that I was in, and like my friend's guitar pick, Alina's guitar pick, and like some dried flowers and some pictures of me and Colby Jack and me and my friend Marcel. You can't see that, but that's okay. And yeah, and then this bird sticker from my friend Molly, who got me into junk journaling. So shout out to Malls. But yeah, I really love it a lot. I think it looks really cool and bohemian. There's a lot going on, but there's a lot going on in Bohemia. So I said, you know what? Yeah. So yeah, and I thought it was so funny because the check-in question says, did you do your artist date this week? And then in parentheses it goes, does your artist get to do more than rent a movie? And then, what did you do? How did it feel? And I thought that was so funny. I said, Miss Cameron, why in the world are you digging on these people? Dang. You know? And I was just thinking last week, I was like, I want to make sure I do a lot of different things for my artist date. Even though I kind of wanted to always center it around music. I had some music on in the background, so technically it was musical. You feel me? Musical crafting. I don't know. Number 3, did you experience any synchronicity this week? What was it? 2 major things that I noticed. Psychosomatic was in one of the pages that I was reading before church, because I usually read the intro kind of like chapter before church and on Sundays. And so it says, page 82, always significant, frankly psychosomatic kriyas are the final insult our psyche adds to our injuries. Get it? A kriya asked you. Get it. And that's part of what is that part of? Oh, it's about honest changes, and about how sometimes you have to just like stop helping people that don't want to be helped, along with other things, but that's what I was talking about. And so then the preacher that was preaching at my church, who wasn't my pastor, but he was like someone that came in, like a guest, obviously, guest preacher. He said the word psychosomatic, and I was like, oh my God. But he was talking about, he brought it up, about how we are clouded with distractions. Now, y'all, I say clouded with distractions because this week in week 4 was reading deprivation. Let me just unclip this thing, because we had a week of reading deprivation, and let me tell y'all what reading deprivation is. Okay, there's an avoid list. Avoid reading, watching TV and movies, all social media, scrolling, emails, and unnecessary texting, podcasts, and I hated it. Did not like it. Now, you might be like, Alexa, obviously, you can go on social media. Obviously, you're going to hate it. That's not what I'm talking about. That's not what I'm talking about at all. Because I can go a week without TV. Sure, okay. It'll be kind of difficult because I love to watch movies. Love a good movie. But I said, okay. No social media for a week. I can do that. I've done it before. There's a song. If he did it before, he can do it again. I've done it before. And I did it this week. It was fine. No social media, honey. No social media scrolling at all. But I noticed that when I'm really overwhelmed, I will scroll on TikTok, because I remember a couple of times this week I was overwhelmed and I went to scroll on TikTok and I was like, oh, I can't. Didn't open the app. Hold on. Did not open the app, but I went to press it and I said, oh, girl, you can't do that. So I had to self-regulate all week. And you know what? Self-regulating is nice. But self-regulating all week, girl, crazy. Anyways, but I did it. But the real kicker for me This whole entire week. Because, like, I'll listen sometimes to a podcast. I can get down with a podcast, okay? But no reading books. Ma'am, you've lost me. You've lost me. Not really, but let me just get it out. Like, that was crazy. Not reading a book for a week, like no reading any books for a week is crazy. I wanted to read all week. I wanted to read all week long, and I was pissed. There, I said it. Oh my gosh, I wanted to read all week. And I'm an avid reader. And I couldn't read this week. And I didn't like it. I didn't like it one bit. And I am going to be reading Hamnet this week, or next week, because the movie's coming out, and my friend Laura Rook, love you, suggested it. She was like, oh my gosh, girl, it almost took the top spot of my favorite book ever. I said, whoa, what are we doing? Let me get into it. And she was like, it'll tear you up. And I said, I need to read it immediately. I need to read it immediately. So I'm so excited. All next week, Hamnet. That's it. I'm not, girl, I'm watching movies, reading Hamnet. I'm watching movies and reading all week next week. The reading deprivation got me. It got me hyped, and it got me a little bit upset, but I'm okay. Let me get through it. The other really cute synchronicity that I found this week is that in my artist prayer, I literally put, I done had to unclip this thing like so many times, child. Anyways, I literally put in my artist prayer, where did help me to know I am not alone, that I am loved and lovable. Okay. That's what I put down. Not that I was like feeling particularly lonely or alone, but I just kind of like, not copy and pasted, but I kind of just put the artist prayer in the back of this book in my own words, and that was just like something that I saw. So I went from in my artist prayer saying, help me to know that I'm not alone. So this wonderful man that I know, David Daniel, who's beautiful, found out that I had solo plans for Thanksgiving. I was going to go to a local soul food place and hang out with Elise's, my friend, Elise's cats at her place just to check on them. You know what I mean? I was going to go eat some soul food, go check on her cats, come home for Thanksgiving. Or come to this back home to this apartment for Thanksgiving. That was it. He found out I had solo plans. He said, that's terrible. Why would you, what? And I was like, oh, well, I mean, that's fine. I'm an only child. So it's just like, I'm used to being alone. I can, I'm chill. I'm cool. And he was like, that you're making it worse. Just stop. You're making it worse. And I was like, how am I making it? Okay, whatever. Sure. So he sounded the alarm to the whole town. I ended up with 6 Thanksgiving invitations. I could only go to 3 of them because 2 of them kind of closed shop a little earlier than I expected. And then one of them was out of town, was like 2.5 hours away. And I was like, I can't drive 2.5 hours away today. Sorry, I can't do it. But shout out to Phoebe, who was in Glencoe. Love you, Phoebes. Okay. Shout out to Carrie and her neighbors, Casey and Hannah. Casey and Hannah and Trey, they rock. Okay. And so do those cheesy mashed potatoes, man. You know what I'm talking about. Come on, Trey. Trey told me to get them, and I got them, and they were really good. Shout out to Carrie. Shout out to David Daniel and the whole Daniel family. I went over there. My God. It was amazing. It was so beautiful. I thought that it was going to be more casual than it was. And I'm not talking about how I dressed. I dressed up because, you see me? I'm going to dress up for Thanksgiving. Who doesn't dress up for Thanksgiving? That's crazy. But, you know what I'm saying? Or at least a cute fit, because you're going to be with family. So you're going to have to be in a cute fit. Anyways, Just because I'm not with family don't mean I'm not going to dress cute for Thanksgiving. I went in there. Y'all, they had this big old table in the middle of the living room with place cards. I said, y'all got me a place card? I'm sitting in between Pete and Nico? What are we talking about? What are we talking about? It was beautiful. It was beautiful. And I couldn't stay the whole night at the Daniel house because then I went to another person's house and we kikied. Oh, the kiki. The Thanksgiving kiki. You have to have it. You just have to have it. And I got it. And it's with Didi and LaShawn. There I said it. And it was amazing. It was wonderful. So yeah. Wasn't alone on Thanksgiving. And it's not that I was like, oh no, I'm going to be alone on Thanksgiving. No. It was just like, okay, I'm going to do me. You feel me? And then God said, you going to do you, but I'm going to do me. Hello. As he so often does. Don't we just love it when he does that? And then, number 4, the check-in questions. Were there any other issues this week that you consider significant to your recovery? Describe them. I just said this week was so difficult. The no TV, fine. The no social media is cool. But no book? You must be out your mind. What in the world? No. Just didn't like it. Just don't like it. And it's after midnight right now. Honey, it is 12:11. I'm finna watch the YouTube video right now just because I can. Just because I can. But, yeah. Last thing I'm going to say. This thing, 30 minutes. And I didn't want it to be 30 minutes. But you know what? I got a lot to say. So you know what? Girl, look. You either watch it or you don't. If you're here right now, watching this at this exact moment in this video, thank you so much. I really appreciate it. I will say that within the introspection that I introspected this week, I think it's snowing outside again. There was a snowstorm last night. It looks gorgeous up here in Wisconsin. I realized more concretely this week, but I've been kind of like inching towards this revelation over the last 2 weeks. I'm 22 years old right now. It is 2025. And when both of my grandmothers were my age, they already had my parents. As of May 2025, I'm the first person on my dad's side of the family to graduate, period. So, I'm 22 years old, educated, black, gorge. Okay. I'm 22 years old and I'm just like, I don't have a baby. I don't have a husband. I don't have a man. You know what I mean? However I feel about that, it's just the truth. I don't have a man. I don't have a family. I don't have a baby. I don't have anybody to like raise. Even if they're not my baby. I ain't got nobody to raise. I don't have anything keeping me in the United States. I was talking to my friend, Laura Rook. Love you. And Didi about this. Didi Batiste. At different times, but about the same thing because it came up. I was like, I could go to Australia today. Well, not today because my contract. Well, technically, I could go to Australia tomorrow because my contract ends today at APC. I could go to Australia tomorrow and be like, you know what? I'm going to see y'all later. I could literally go anywhere. I am a 22-year-old with a working passport. I could go anywhere in the world. Whenever I wanted to. I could stay for however long I want to. And I was thinking this week, I was like, I feel like a hot air balloon.